You know, hold your breath, you might wet your pants. I'm MP, and it does not stand for military police.
12.
It does, however, stand for mostly Polish, magnificent person, and multiple personalities. Thank you. I was an only child once. Yeah, by the time I was 7. I was the oldest of 5. I blame that on the Catholic Church and my parents. Anyway, when I was younger, I didn't have much of a childhood because I was running after my brothers and sisters and paying attention to them, so I didn't learn a whole hell of a lot about the world. So by the time I was in my mid-20s, I was the mother of 5. Yeah, I blame that on alcohol and pot. But I learned a few things while I was raising my brothers and sisters and my own kids. That the smarter they are, the harder they are. So I raised mine a little bit dense and pliable. Which backfired, by the way, because none of them got the concept of contraception. And I have 15 grandkids. I hate kids. I also learned how to keep them quiet when they were younger. You hand them a tube of Elmer's glue and tell them it's chapstick. And it still works on the middle one, and she's 31. And I told you earlier I was mostly Polish. Well, my dad was 100% pure Polish, and he was also a paranoid schizophrenic. Which runs in families, by the way. It's genetically passed. Usually skips a generation, but in our case, I think I caught it. But unlike my father, I don't fight the voices. One day before he passed away, about 5 years ago, we were sitting on his back porch, and he had this very concerned look on his face, and I said, "Dad, what is the matter with you today?" And he said, with a concerned sound in his voice, "I think your mother is trying to get rid of me." All right, paranoid schizophrenic, I wasn't going to listen to that, right? But I fell for it. I said, "What the hell makes you think that Mom's trying to get rid of you?" And he said, "I was in the cupboard earlier and I found a bottle of Polish remover." Jeepers. And by having all these kids, I have a husband. No, I had 4 husbands, but, you know. The last one's a keeper, though. He's a really cool guy. He's a romantic. He only has 2 moving parts, by the way. They're interchangeable. But he is a romantic. In fact, he is so romantic that Valentine's Day this year, he sent me 4 dozen roses. Which is pretty cool, right? 4 dozen roses? It's like, yeah. And actually, it was a picture mail of 4 dozen roses that he saw in the front entrance of a truck stop. But anyway, to make up for him, we have a very bad sex life because we're both fat. And fat is very, very bad for sex life. Take it from me, I'm fat. So is he. Well, he was. Anyway, moving on. To thank him for the picture of the 4 dozen roses, I decided that we were going to do a little when he came home that week. He came home and we were doing our thing, and all of a sudden it's getting like really intense, and I'm like, "Get off! Get off!" And he said, "I'm trying, but every time you open your mouth, the fantasy goes away." So I continued with my rants and raves and said, "Get off of me, you fat bastard, I can't breathe." And he did. Next day, he bought himself some Nutrisystem. Now he's lost 40 pounds and I have to come up with a new excuse. I can use some help. Anybody? Welcome back to the stage, Amanda Barnes. Thank you, IMP.